Hello everyone, Lytro Storm here, and today we are going to continue What If Chi-Chi Was a Saiyan? Be sure to check out the first part if you haven't already, as it will be linked in both the description and comments. But I'll go ahead and give a quick rundown of what happened right now. Chi-Chi became more of a fighter due to being a Saiyan, and this led to Krillin not being killed by Tambourine, as she was the one to go get Goku's things instead. Gohan was born as a full-blooded Saiyan, since his parents are both full-blooded Saiyans, and this means that he has an interest in fighting as well. When Raditz arrived, he fought against Goku, Piccolo, Chi-Chi, and Krillin, but the four were no match. This led to the deaths of both himself and his brother as in canon. Chi-Chi knew that she had to train and prepare her son to defend himself as well, and so she dropped him off with Master Roshi, and then left to train with Piccolo herself. But that's about where we left off. Before we begin, I just want to go ahead and tell you all to subscribe if you enjoy the video, and as always, be sure to join my Discord and follow me on Twitter. Links in the description. Before we get into the power levels of our crew, I want to go more into detail on Gohan and his training. Basically, he'd start out with the same regimen as Goku and Krillin did for Roshi, and would quickly outgrow that. After that, he would be sent to Korin's tower and climb, eventually fighting Korin a few times. And once he's finally done with all that, he would go to the lookout to train with Kami and Popo after everyone else had already finished their training and went back down to Earth. So that way he could get some good one-on-one time with Popo in order to gain his own strength without holding anyone else back. This may seem like a lot for him to go through in a year, but even though he isn't a half Saiyan, he's still got more potential than both of his parents, just not by such a large margin. I think his power level by the end of the training would be around 400. But if you disagree and think it should be less, it won't matter much because he's not coming to the fight with the Saiyans because either way he's too weak. But he will be strong enough to defend himself, and that's all that they wanted. Now to talk power levels. Piccolo, having Chi-Chi to train with all year, would grow to a power level of 5,000. This puts him above Nappa's power level, and Chi-Chi would be around equal to Nappa at 4,000. Tenshinhan, Yajirobe, and Chaozu are only a bit stronger since they are all around the same level before the training as they were in canon. They've just got somewhat stronger partners in Krillin and Yamcha. Speaking of which, those are the two who changed the most. Krillin is now at a 2,150, while Yamcha is at a 1,760. Chi-Chi and the others arrive to the wasteland with Vegeta and Nappa and hide their power levels. Nappa says that Chi-Chi would be perfect for making more Saiyans as she seemed decently strong herself. However, the woman assures him that she's not going anywhere with them. Nappa says let's see about that, and then begins planting the Cybermen, and Yamcha would take one on alone. However, since he's quite a bit stronger, his Kamehameha is going to kill the Cybermen instead of leaving it near death. So Yamcha has survived this battle. The rest of the Cybermen then attack the squad, only to be taken out quite easily. Chi-Chi then steps up to fight Nappa, with both of them scrapping about equally. They're both at a 4K power level, so their match is going to be an even fight, though Chi-Chi does have more skill and technique, so she's going to have a slight edge. Once she becomes tired out, she swaps out with Piccolo, who should be able to handle a tired Nappa. However, Nappa had actually gained a little bit of strength from fighting the two. This is because Saiyans adapt in combat, and Nappa actually did this in canon too. He went from getting sauced on by Goku to needing the Kaioken to blitz him. And it was stated by Vegeta that their fight would take a long time to end. So Nappa pretty much has a 6,000 power level at this point, meaning he's gonna smack Piccolo down. He's able to hold his own since he is tired though, and it eventually comes down to a beam clash. Piccolo's explosive demon wave is gonna prevail. This leaves Nappa on the ground, tired and strained from having such close battles with injuries like this. Vegeta then picks him up and tosses him into the air, killing him like he did in the show. He then decides to step in, as seeing a Saiyan and Namekian who could best Nappa made him interested. Fighting them should be more fun than standing around until Kakarot arrives. And plus, if Kakarot's even stronger than them, these guys might actually become a problem if they all work together. So now Vegeta is just gonna obliterate all of them pretty easily, leading to the deaths of Tenshinhan, Chaozu, and Yamcha. Piccolo, Krillin, and Chi-Chi are all trying their best at this point, and so Vegeta attempts to kill the two men and leave the woman, as she could be useful to repopulating the race. And so because of this, Piccolo would die as well. Vegeta then senses that Kakarot is approaching, and so he leaves the two remaining alive. Some time passes and Goku does arrive, giving half a Senzu Bean to both Krillin and Chi-Chi. He tells them to get out of here, as he's strong enough to handle this on his own. The two reluctantly agree, but we then get the fight with Goku and Vegeta. But first, Vegeta is going to read Goku's power level. But since he's slightly stronger, it would be over 9,000. The two would scrap for a bit, but Goku would eventually use the Kaioken, and at this point, even a 2 times would give him a slight power advantage over Vegeta. This makes him need to use ×3 far less, and not even need ×4 at all. Once they do the Gallic Gun Kamehameha clash, Goku would overpower him with the ×3, and this leaves Vegeta injured, and so he looks up to the moon, since it was never destroyed. This is because Gohan never went Uzaru since he was training with Roshi, Korin, and Kami, who all knew of the transformation and would try to keep him indoors at night. And so Vegeta now begins to go on the offensive as an Uzaru, and this forces Goku to strain himself with the ×4 Kaioken to avoid attacks and grabs. However, Vegeta eventually does manage to catch him and begins crushing him in his palm. Chi-Chi would fly in now that she senses her husband in pain and would look up at the full moon as well. This makes her go Uzaru with half of Vegeta's power. She had gotten a Zenkai that placed her over 6,000 and would be over 60,000 when transformed. And Vegeta is weakened, so that's why she's over half. This means that Chi-Chi would be a decent stall for Goku, but wouldn't be able to hurt Vegeta at all, especially since she isn't in full control. Goku, while on the ground, would continue to charge the Spirit Bomb, and Yajirobe would arrive, slicing off Vegeta's tail and leaving him defenseless to the Uzaru Chi-Chi's attacks. She was damaged though, so she wouldn't be able to kill him. Vegeta then realizes that he needs to save himself, and so he blasts the moon, destroying it. Krillin then tossed the Spirit Bomb at Vegeta since Goku had handed it to him, and this managed to hit him away and launch him afar. Because the moon was now destroyed, Chi-Chi reverted to her base form on the ground, and Vegeta escaped like in canon. Bulma, Roshi, and Gohan arrived on a ship and took the gang to the hospital, where they would be healed. Both the husband and wife were critically injured from this fight and would have to stay in the hospital for longer than the others, but the plan to go to Namek still comes up, and the group is decided on. Gohan wanted to go in order to help his parents out and save Piccolo, but he was very weak compared to Krillin. This led to Chi-Chi forcing Yajirobe and Roshi to join them, and if they don't, they wouldn't want to be here when she's recovered. The two agree cowardly, and the four would now proceed to do image training on the way there. Yajirobe and Roshi would also be taught to fly in the days beforehand, as that's pretty important if they're going to be traveling around Namek looking for Dragon Balls. Now after image training, Krillin would be the strongest, with Yajirobe following that, and Roshi's buff form being third. Gohan comes after him, and base Roshi is the weakest overall. Our four would now at least be ready for battle and can hold their own pretty well. When they arrive, they find out that Frieza and his men are on the planet, and so this complicates things. Gohan chooses to go save Dende, and so Krillin has to use the solar flare to escape. The squad then splits up, with Krillin and Gohan and Yajirobe and Roshi. They search for the Dragon Balls, and the first two actually end up finding Guru and get their potentials unlocked. They would then proceed to get the other two and get them unlocked as well. Meanwhile, Vegeta did all the stuff with Zarbon and Dodoria as in canon, and now confronts the gang at Guru's house. But that's when he senses the Ginyu Force. They arrive and Ginyu takes the Dragon Balls before dipping, leaving his men to take these 5 out. Guldo proceeds to get cocky and say that he'll take all 4 of the weak ones out. This means that Krillin, Yajirobe, Gohan, and Roshi would all face Guldo, which would be a hard match. But I think that the gang would be able to do it without Vegeta's help. There's 4 of them, and they're only getting stronger over time due to the unlock. So they'd be able to cut Guldo off at some point before he can freeze them. The gang manages to knock him unconscious, and now Recoome steps in to fight Vegeta, and that fight ends up the same, but Krillin and Gohan help out where they can. So when Goku and Chi-Chi arrive, they give Gohan, Krillin, and reluctantly Vegeta all Senzu Beans. The two had been training in the gravity ship on the way there, and are now insanely powerful. Now with this time, I think that Chi-Chi would actually be able to surpass base Goku, and this is because he would be using the Kaioken a lot when sparring. And so Chi-Chi is just going to have to face off against someone who is even stronger than their base form normally is, which is just going to make her adapting to that power. I'd put Goku at 160,000 and Chi-Chi at 180,000. The two now proceed to slap the entire Ginyu Force, with Chi-Chi actually killing Recoome herself for hurting her son. Ginyu attempts to take Goku's body and succeeds, but Chi-Chi is able to smack him down afterward. This forces the captain to swap bodies with her, which allows Goku to jump in the way and get his body back. Chi-Chi then blasts the injured Ginyu and kills him with a single blast. Goku is then put into a healing chamber, and Chi-Chi and Vegeta are forced to put their differences aside for now. He says that he's gonna go take a nap and wait for Frieza, and asks the female Saiyan if she wants to join him. She then flares up her red aura like in the anime, and he would walk back saying that it was worth a shot. The squad, now seeing the opportunity, would then summon Porunga and wish for Piccolo to be brought back and teleported to Namek. And that's when Frieza arrives. And Vegeta does as well. And Guru also dies. Chi-Chi steps up to hold Frieza back, and Vegeta would tell him to transform. The Emperor prepares to do so, and that is where we're going to leave off for this part. I want to cover the rest of this, but I also don't want the video to be too long. But I do have some cool ideas going forward for the Frieza Saga finale. And with that, I hope you all have enjoyed this series so far. I think it's been really interesting, and will only get more interesting as it continues. If you want to see part 3, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video. But as always, tell me if you like this part, tell me what you think will happen next, comment your requests for future videos, and subscribe. Thank you for watching, have a great day.